Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this quick little tutorial on how to pick out parts for your gaming PC build. I'm going to do two different kinds right here, or two different episodes. So this first episode I'm going to show you, or maybe I'll do three episodes, one for just a complete budget PC, one for a mid gaming PC, and one for a super good gaming PC, but still obviously acceptable. So the first thing you want to do is go to a cool little place that a lot of people know about called PC Part Picker. Okay, so here it is, and it has a ton of places for you to start a build. So I've built plenty of computers using this site. It picks out a bunch of parts you need and makes sure that they are compatible together. So the first thing you need for every computer is obviously a CPU, the central processing unit, and this is used to basically, it's hard to explain, but it's all the cores and just the heart of it, I guess you would call it. So for this first episode, what I'm going to show you is a basic gaming computer for an affordable price. I'm not sure what I'm going to make the price range yet, but I'm going to show you a computer that will play a lot of games just on medium settings and so on. Okay, so this is how it's going to go. So you want to pick something that's obviously cheap, on the cheaper side, and for gaming you're going to want at least 4 cores, and we can go to 8 if we want to, but that's mostly for high productivity and stuff. So what we're going to do is crank up the speed of it, and to be a good gaming PC you're going to need at least, I would say, 3.6, maybe 3.5 gigahertz. So then we're going to come up here and pick the cheapest one that we see. Obviously it doesn't have to be the cheapest one, but here right on top we have an AMD Athlon. It's a 4 core running at a speed of 3.7 gigahertz. So now this is great for the price, $71. AMD tends to run a little bit more hot than Intel, but that's completely fine, and we can still work with it. I've used it plenty of times. It works great. So what you need to decide here is how much money you want to spend. So personally, I have gone with the 6-core AMD FX 6350 here, which is a little on the expensive side, but for just mid gaming, right here, the AMD Athlon running at 3.7 and 4 cores is a perfect buy. So this is just low-end gaming, but you can still play plenty of games. So it's going to show you all the sites, and obviously the cheapest one up here so far is Outlet PC. So we're going to do add that to parts list. So now we have the CPU, check. It tells you down here the total so far, $71.88, and yes, computer parts are going to be expensive if you guys didn't know that already. So next, okay, so here's the little controversial part. A CPU cooler, you can obviously pick one, and it helps keep your CPU cool, but there is a catch to it, it's adding extra money that might not be necessary. So the way I like to see it is, if it's just a basic low-end gaming computer, you don't need one. Okay, they give you a built-in CPU cooler with this processor right here. So the company who produces these, AMD, is obviously going to make it so that if you don't overclock it, just keep it exactly how it's made, factory like that, the stock CPU cooler should be fine. So we're going to leave that one blank, which will save us some money. Next, we're going to choose a motherboard. Now, AMD uses different types. They use an AM3+, FM2+, and AM3 motherboards, and a couple more, I believe, but we'll just go ahead and see so far what's the cheapest one. Okay, so obviously right here we have an MSI stock-based motherboard. And then you can go ahead and click on the actual website of it to go ahead and get more specs if you don't feel comfortable with what it is. So here's the motherboard. You can kind of see the reviews from actual websites. MSI is a trusted brand, so we're good with that. So just looking at it right now, you can check out some of the parts. So as we can see in the top right, we can see that it has 2 RAM slots, and over here we can see 2 3.0 USBs, a VGA, and an HDMI on the built-on motherboard, in addition to a couple PCI expansion slots over there. So yeah, we'll go with that. Or I'm sorry, we don't have to go with this one, but for this build, we always like to check over here and see how many SATA 6 gigabytes ports it has, which is what you're going to be using for hard drives and SSD drives and stuff like that. It can hold 32 gigabytes of RAM. So overall, it looks pretty decent. It doesn't support SLI, but for such a low-end gaming computer, we don't need to worry about that right now. So this should actually be fine, so we're going to add that. It's actually the cheapest one on there too, and it's not bad for what it is. So it's a micro ATX, which means it's a small version of normal motherboards, but if it has what you need and it supports it, go for it. So next up, we're going to choose our memory. So for a lot of modern games, you're going to need about 8 gigabytes of memory. 4 gigabytes just won't cut it anymore. So for this build, we are going to be going down here to select, where is it at? 8 gigabytes, either one stick, or 8 gigabytes with 2 4 gigabyte sticks. And then we're going to go to the cheapest one here by clicking on price, and we'll see price per gigabyte. So this one goes, it's a big jump from 375 to 412 over here, but I do trust Crucial right here. It's just a very plain stick. They have ones that come in different colors, they have ones that light up, a lot of cool ones, but for going cheap here, we're just going to go with one stick of 8 gigabytes, which you can put into your motherboard. Next, what we're going to do is choose storage. Now, this is also another controversial topic where it depends, do you want SSD or do you want standard HDD RAM? So if you want 10 times faster speed, but also like 4 times the amount of money to spend on it, you would go with an SSD card, which is right here. But for this build, it's just basic. If you're not going to be doing editing or booting up fast or whatever, we're just going to go ahead and click standard like 7200 RPM HDD here, and then we're going to go up and you can see obviously the different prices, 160 gigabytes, all that. But actually we're going to go ahead and move this up. If you want a nice gaming computer, you want at least, I would say, maybe 500 gigabytes of memory. So the first one here would be 500 gigabytes, the cheapest one, for $35.95 by Seagate. That's a really trusted company for that, so it's a nice 500 gigabyte hard drive for $35.95, and that's pretty good. Of course, you can always upgrade this when you want with a 1 terabyte, maybe 2 terabytes, or you can even put SSD in there, which is a lot more expensive. For you maybe get 120 gigabytes for like $50, so it's a lot more expensive. So we're just gonna leave it at this for right now. So video cards are what is gonna determine how well you can run your games besides the CPU. So there's a lot of different choices with these, and I'm not even kidding, there's a ton of choices. But for just low-end gaming, but you still being able to support a lot of modern games, as you can see, there's a ton of them here, and you're thinking, well, how the heck can I choose this? Well, obviously, since there's so much to choose from, what you can do, there's 2 major brands, AMD and Nvidia, but they all, good ones at least, will all range between $100 and $1,000. But we're going to keep it on the lower end here, somewhere between 116. Actually, we can lower that just a tiny bit more and go ahead and check out for the cheapest price here. So you want to make sure that your memory, for at least what I'm showing you right now, is at least 2 gigabytes. But here we see a GT 740 for $92, made by MSI. It could be good, but I'm not sure if 740 is going to be good enough to cut it for this build. So we're going to find something maybe a little bit more. It might be a little on the expensive side, but it's going to be definitely worth it for you guys. So let's move down a little bit, getting a little bit more expensive. GTX 750 or a 750 Ti right here. So this one should be pretty good. 750 Ti, I know those are pretty great. Or if you wanted to take the stance of Nvidia, you could go ahead and use that. But this card looks really nice, actually, for only $120. And then you get a $10 mail-in rebate. So we have red and black design, which actually matches the computer I am currently using. It has 2 built-in fans, so this thing will get you through fine. Made by MSI, as I said before, it's a trusted company for this, so that's completely fine right there. 750 Ti. If you want to take the AMD side, you could go for an R7 265, which is actually a tiny bit more better. I don't know how you'd say that. More well designed, more powerful, but also using more energy, whatever. So far we can see that our build is $297, pushing up in the 300 range. That's not bad, but next we need to choose a case. So cases, do you want it to look cool, or do you just want it to sit underneath your desk and not worry about it? And obviously sitting on your desk and not worrying about it will be much cheaper. But in order to get what you want, you can obviously click on the lowest price, and here's a $25 case right here. It's probably not going to be that cool. It's a small little case. It doesn't look cool. If you want a nice looking case with a big glass window, lights, and you can see all that stuff, you guys can go ahead and look for that. But for this build, we're just going to take something simple. So this one right here, this one actually looks pretty cool. Yeah, this one looks good. So we have a Thermaltake commander, and it's the Snow White Black edition. I've actually used the red and black edition of this exact one, so I know this one works well, and it's a pretty good case. So for just you know, knocked down with a $10 rebate, it's $28, so that's pretty good. So now we're just in the 300 mark here, and we need to pick a power supply for this bad boy. And if you look over on the left, you can see the estimated wattage, which is about 244 watts for this one. I figured this thing's a little bit off. Usually it's like 30 more than this thing would say, because they're gonna also having in USB ports used, such as microphones, keyboards, mice, you know, internet sticks, all that kind of stuff. So next up, what you need to do is finally pick a good power supply. Now I would definitely recommend going slightly above what the wattage for this is, and 430 watts is the basic I know of, what most people would just go for. So you can get efficiency 80 plus or above, 80 plus bronze, or 80 plus, or silver, gold, platinum, or I think was the other one. Yeah, so just go for any of those. It doesn't really matter too much as long as they're 480 watts. This one has one review of a 12-star. It's not 80 plus certified, but for this build we can sure as heck go for it. I would never do it unless it was 80 plus or above, but it should be fine. I wouldn't worry too much. So if you guys are going to be using CDs for this, or DVDs, most people wouldn't, but if you feel like you need to use it, you can go ahead and add that in there. I'll throw it in there right now just for those of you that think you would need it. So I'll just go ahead and grab the cheapest one here that takes care of both DVD and CD, which is this one right here. So $13, not bad. And finally, you'll need an operating system, which is among the most expensive parts here. The cheapest one would be $85, Microsoft Windows 8.1, which you will be able to upgrade to Windows 10. However, there is other ways of getting this that you don't have to spend $85. You can look on eBay for a CD key, and then the CD reboot and reinstall or refresh key, which you can probably get for $12 on Amazon, and then buy the CD key for maybe $20 for a $32 buy. But if you just want to do it the legal, proper way, you know, just go for buying it right here, $85. So that's about all you would need, unless you want to go for monitors and extra like keyboards and mice if you don't have keyboards and mice. But this is just the build itself. So yeah, here's all the components you're basically going to need. Nothing too fancy. This GTX 750 Ti, you guys will have a nice time with that. Trust me, that thing is pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need. This the case, I believe, comes with one fan. You might have to add a couple more fans. So it would say that the base total is $469, but don't worry, that is completely lowerable if you know how to use mail-in rebates, and it's also compensating the shipping. So the base total, or not the base total, just the total would come out to be $436.65, which is not bad at all. This thing would destroy a console. Trust me, it would destroy a console. Consoles would not be able to keep up with this machine. This would destroy an Xbox One, destroy a PS4. So trust me guys, it's a nice build, and we will see you next time.